kick.
Let's go, babe. Come on, let's have some fun, man.
This is Danny and Dusty on Football Friday.
You gotta see it! You gotta see it!
Brought to you by the Odyssey app. Download the Odyssey app, follow 1080 The Fan, and enable push notifications to get the latest on the Ducks, Beavers, Blazers, and more.
Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
Good afternoon! Hey-o! Thanks for being a part of our day, letting us be a part of yours. Danny and Dusty here on this about-to-be rainy Friday. It's going to rain.
Wow, you didn't even give it a football Friday.
No.
Just a rainy Friday.
When all the football starts this Friday, it will be raining. Rain is supposed to be coming. I hear it's atmospheric river time for us again.
That makes sense. That I think it came in a couple days ago. Driving home, It was a disaster.
Okay,
like I could not see like 5 feet in front of me, kind of a deal, which is always super fun. Oh, that's right. You were out, I think, when I mentioned this. Oh no, maybe not. I hydroplaned on the way home for like 150 feet down the hill.
That's right. Yeah, I was here for that.
Yeah, no, that was terrifying. We've had a couple of those pop up the last couple of days. I don't like this.
Yeah,
not a fan.
It's okay. It is what it is. It's why, it keeps trees green. Oregonians, we got to say that. Guys, just we gotta have green trees out there. That's what it's all about. Got this rain here. It's gonna pour. So hey, yay. I just don't like. I can handle rain. You know what I don't like? Wet socks.
Oh God,
that's the worst.
Wet socks. I mean, like. I will not umbrella. No. Give me Gore-Tex me to death. Give me all of the waterproofing stuff. Waterproof shoes are necessity. And have you ever had waterproof socks? Have you ever seen these?
No.
They're really expensive. I don't own a pair myself, but one of my buddies has multiple pairs, and he let me use them when we went to Bandon. They are amazing. I mean, it's like... Your feet never go wet. Now, are they breathable? No.
Yeah, so that sounds like a particular kind of hell. Like, sure, they're waterproof, but are they keeping your feet from sweating? To
but no, wet on the inside.
But no, it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
It's not that
bad. And then you pair that with I will have this is my new go-to because Nike golf shoes. They're doing a really good job of just making them all very comfortable.
Oh God, those I wear the Jordans, but like they're dumb comfortable.
So in Nike finally did what everybody had been asking for, which is, hey, like you have comfortable shoes, just make them into golf shoes, and they did.
Golf spikes on them.
They did
the 270s.
But I have a waterproof pair of 270s that I wear. I also have there's another pair of and they're super comfortable, but. You have to buy them like a size and a half larger than your actual shoe size because they're super narrow and very tight, but you zip them up on the sides. And that's my go-to.
Okay.
It's my go-to because they don't even have like real spikes in them anymore.
Yeah, they're all soft.
Yeah, it's all soft. And so I just, I walk around because if I'm outside in the rain a lot, there's I'm either coaching or I'm at kids' games.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So you have
multi-use here.
You have like a little bit of grippy that you have there when you're outside and you're in that. Like the worst part though is you can't wear nice shoes this time of year.
Like a good gripper.
Because it's clean. That you're gonna have to be both ends of that. You're gonna have to be tight when you edit that, Russ. But you know what to do with it. You know. You've been there. All right. Don't even know where I was going now.
Sidetracked.
Can't wear nice shoes this time of year. Yeah. This is like no shoe game time of year because water puddles. Because if you're going just from your car to inside,
and I'm wearing white Air Maxes.
You're wearing white Air Max. See, those aren't that white though. They got a lot of black on them.
Yeah.
Hey, good job on. You couldn't see it. Maybe if you're watching on YouTube.com/1080. AM the Fan.
There you go.
Maybe you saw. That was some good leg lift.
Like that?
I mean, it was...
Little rotation?
You had a little bit of leg lift in there. So, that was good.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
We're there.
Speaking of wet feet, I made the dumbest decision of my life as a young man.
Oh,
That's a high bar.
yeah, that.
Oh,
bar.
buddy.
I don't know.
Yeah, no.
This is quickly going to be shot down as this was
no.
not.
As far as like a functional,
Mhm.
like very minor decision that was made that was very impactful.
And that's quite the hedge there.
No.
The biggest mistake of my life. That was a very minor functional.
Yeah.
Well, and he did say as a young man. So
a
it's
young
like Homer Simpson
Sliding
telling Bart,
scale.
it's not the worst day of your life. It's the worst day of your life yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it went
far.
over a course of days, unfortunately. I went to survival school, which you train at Fairchild up in Spokehampton. You're there for about a week getting ready. It was in February.
I heard that the military's up there. They call it Spokanistan too.
Yes. Yeah, we do. We like to have fun with it.
I've heard that before.
But north of Spokehampton is where you actually go to survival school. And this is, again, in February. It was a short notice order
So-
for me.
Canada.
Yeah, basically. And there's mountains up there, and it's a lot of snow.
Yeah.
I went out there, short notice, without even thinking. It was quite literally, hey, your SEER slot isn't until, I think it was June. But for those that don't know, SEER school is survival, evasion, resistance, and escape.
There we go.
It's what you do
I had no.
to prepare for capture.
I thought you were talking seersucker
tonight.
suits.
But I brought my jungle boots because I just threw my boots in my bag without thinking because that's where I had just come from was
Sure.
a warmer climate.
Right.
So,
Who hasn't had that mistake of throwing their jungle boots in their bag?
okay, those jungle boots,
Mm-hmm.
it's like canvas.
Not good.
There's nothing there. And I am in 4 feet of snow, maybe more.
You took Chuck Taylors to the snow.
Yes. And so when you're out in survival school, when they drop you off, you're in the middle of nowhere, you've got a map, you've got your survival gear, and your survival gear is not like a backpack. It's supposed to simulate you eject out of an aircraft or you have to abandon an aircraft. So you've got your parachute, whatever your survival pack is, your radio, very, very few things, right? And came infinitely close to severe levels of frostbite over multiple days.
I could see that.
The only reason I didn't get it that bad is that I was able to get to an area where I could warm my feet up as a small fire. But yeah, it was, I've never had my feet be colder, wetter, and more painful in my entire life. And this was over about 4 days. I wanted to cut them off. It hurt so bad. Even thinking about it right now is literally making my toes curl.
That's another drop.
Yeah, it's good.
That's another.
That one was
I mean,
unintentional.
that
was unintentional.
Yeah. That is actually a very dumb decision.
Oh, buddy. All because I just grabbed the wrong boots.
You have told us, what do you want? 73 dumber things that you've done? Is that a safe number, Rust?
Yeah, I think it's. Yeah,
And we're talking about you almost losing your toes.
I think that's fair.
I think 73 is the number I'm sticking to right here. So that is a very dumb thing. I think most people, that would be very high on their list. And that probably, like your Homer Simpson, it is the dumbest thing to that point in your life.
It was super high at that point.
Yeah,
for
you
sure.
really raised the bar after that, though.
No.
Hey, congratulations. You keep raising that bar and achieving. Yeah, I'll clap to that.
Look, man, I'll Fosbury flop over that thing.
Let's go. Let's go. The YouTube comments are already popping off. Danny, we can see Danny's hair. That does mean that we do have a Blazer game today.
Blazer home game.
Blazers are playing in Moda today. So Danny did his hair. He got his hair did.
I will attempt to try to do it for the home games, but we're going to reach a point where I'm going to go Pat again. I did it last year.
15 games under 500?
We probably won't need to go that far.
Oh.
Maybe they're one right now.
Yeah, one game under 500.
So they got a game on Sunday. Sunday, pretty strong likelihood of a hat,
Okay.
for being honest.
All right.
It's Sunday.
Okay. Well, I don't know what that means. Is Sunday's a hat day? Is that
I mean, every day's hat day. for me
the
for most
Lord's
part.
Day means you wear a hat
Yeah.
to sports?
Yeah.
I think you should go other way and go old-timey sports,
Ooh.
suit and tie.
Suit and tie.
Yeah, with a fedora or one of those old hats that, the journalists wore that it said media on it. You have like
Oh,
little,
yeah,
you have a
little
little
patch.
badge and it goes media. and you ask all of your
Yeah,
questions.
see?
Chauncey, see? In the third quarter, Anthony Simons.
I might have
Thumb
to
coming off.
I might have to do that. It has to be
I'm
after
sure that will make the African American head coach very comfortable speaking in the old timey voice.
Wow.
I wasn't gonna go there.
Yeah. Gosh.
Just
Rust.
it's a different time when
Could have been a
back
nice
then when
guy.
people talk like that.
Well, yeah, but there's still.
I'm not yelling racial epithets.
Yeah,
at
there
him.
were still non-racist people back then, Russ.
There are a few,
A
but
couple of them.
Your point is pretty valid, though, and taken.
yeah, it happens.
Jeez.
Are you going full Movember on me? Is that what's happening here?
No, playoff beards.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Grow high school football playoffs. Shout outs to all the players, coaches, families that are enjoying high school football playoffs that start tonight. So, yeah, I grow horrible facial hair. And you know what's even worse when you have patchy facial hair? It's when it's starting to turn gray.
Oh yeah.
So now it's like
Yeah, why you gotta look at me when you say that?
your facial hair isn't patchy.
Oh,
Like
okay.
your
But it's
skin is
gray.
patchy because you have so much facial hair, Jeff. That like like your cheeks are patchy at this point, like the skin, because your beard grows in an instant. Did you shave today? Why are
Last
you
night
laughing?
before
That's a legitimate question.
Well, we're still not quite at 2 weeks yet.
Yeah. No, your facial hair, you got glorious facial hair, Rust. Like you really do.
It grows quickly.
Your
And if I really let it go, I look like a werewolf.
Yeah, your caterpillar stash is unbelievable. Your beard is thick and full. Danny's got a good goatee going on. I don't think I've ever seen you with a beard.
No, this like the 5 o'clock
doesn't-
shadow comes in
Yeah.
super fast, and
Yeah.
then it just kind of stays.
Yeah.
The only time I've had a beard, like legitimate beard,
Yeah.
I let it grow out for probably like 5 months when I got out of the military,
Yeah.
and that's the last time I had a beard.
My friends always give me a hard time because they're like, "Hey, you gonna like grow your beard out?" And I'm like, "I'm 39. Like, it's not gonna happen. Like, this year's not my year. It's not like it's be like, you know what?
You should go a full year and see what happens.
I think that this is the year my beard is actually gonna grow in. But once a year, I do it. I'm getting ready to fire off my text to Bill Oram of the Oregonian and Oregon Live, who wants me to grow and keep a mustache permanently.
You should
He wants me to. Like every time I see Bill,
go.
he's like, go stash.
Lean into the Pedro Pascal.
And it is by unpopular demand, the stash will make a return.
There you go.
I have a terrible mustache. I look like a conquistador.
I would like to strike that from the drop board because my mustache is no longer conquistador. I have
what are we calling it
noticed
now?
that it
It
is
connects?
It is. That's not good. Let's not say it's connecting. I wouldn't go that far. All right. There's more in the middle though. Sitting over here like don't lie to the people, okay?
Just the look of disdain when I said that on your
God.
face.
I don't want to be offensive to because I got Rust over there who apparently is just going to jump to the extremes on everything here. I don't want to offend people like Jeff who have facial hair by saying it connects my mustache in the middle because it doesn't quite yet. But there's something there. I no longer look conquistador. I look like I don't know, like
It's Pedro Pascal.
I don't
That's
know.
what you got going.
like
Well,
Alabama.
I know you got those first 3 letters right.
Yeah.
PEDO.
Wow. I was gonna go with Alabama meth dealer, but
I was gonna go with like a Pedro, but not pedo.
man.
Come on, kids, wanna hop in my van with some waterproof socks?
I know there's no windows.
Oh man. All right. So this segment's taking a real winding road.
We're all kind of in a mood today, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. You know
Or
what that
at
means?
least one of us.
I'm here for it. Yeah. Like you sitting on a tack over there or something, bud? Jeff Russ is on one
He's
today.
over there prepping for the polygraph.
Does that work?
Huh? If you can maintain your pressure, it helps because it doesn't elevate your blood pressure or your heart rate. So, but you have to consistently do it.
I can't be the only one that just noticed how confidently and quickly Danny was the one to answer that question about tricking a polygraph.
There's certain
Like,
things
I
you can
haven't
do.
looked, but
There's certain things you can do.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily to trick it. It's just reading your biometrics. That's all it is. So
Sure.
if you can flub your biometrics, your readouts by doing something more consistent that doesn't allow you to adjust outside of the ranges. Yeah. There's all kinds of things you can do.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to start doing it.
So.
For when I have to lie on your behalf. Keep you out of jail.
And you can just refer to the tape.
Oh, I know. I know. They're going to call me in for questioning. I'm going to be like, what do you want me to tell you? You have it all. Like, and then he's our social media manager. He decided that he wanted to have it like looking good and on YouTube where everything gets stored forever too.
There you go. I mean,
you can go to the audio vault or you can see his face when he's saying these things and looking right into the camera. The crazy part is he was looking into a camera before the camera was even here. 503-864-6326. That's the Vancouver Ford text line. That is how you can go ahead and be a part of the program. And youtube.com/1080am The Fan. You can watch us, listen to us, and be a part of that comment section, as many of you are on a daily basis. But whether you listen on The Fan, on YouTube, the Odyssey app, or 1080thefan.com. Thank you for being a part of this day with us. We got a Football Friday. We got a lot of football that we do need to get to. I will refuse to let Danny talk about this stupid play-in tournament, but I have a feeling he's going to steamroll us at some point.
here's a little thing. I control the show in the second half, so
we're gonna get there. We will talk Blazers today and the play-in tournament starting. Quite the article being posted about one Blazer in particular. We will discuss that today because Shaden Sharp is getting a lot of love. But where we got to start this Football Friday is with a little bit of football game. Even when Will Levis is losing, Billy Jeans keeps on winning. Danny and Dusty on The Fan.
like a good gripper. Even thinking about it right now is literally making my toes curl.
And that is the biggest win that you could possibly ask for if you are a fan of the Titans, because he looked pretty damn good last night.
I know we can look at the box score and go 22 of 39, 262 and a pick. It's like, is that really great? No. But I'm sitting there watching that game last night, and there wasn't really other than 3 throws that basically all happened within the last 2 drives.
Yeah.
Turnover-worthy throws. He forced one to DeAndre Hopkins up the sideline.
You should, though.
Yes,
That's crunch time.
Yes,
yeah,
that's
that's crunch time. The interception with 11 seconds, give your damn team a chance. Don't check down.
No,
he tried to do something cool.
Well, there was a couple of throws ahead of that, too, that was almost picked.
Yeah, in the middle field,
right through the DB's hands.
And then there was one where DeAndre Hopkins had to play DB and knock one out. I will say Mike Tomlin said, you can throw the ball to literally anybody but DeAndre Hopkins in the second half.
Pretty good game plan.
Yeah, they double covered or bracketed DeAndre literally the entire second half.
One like those things though that Will Levis does really well. Like his numbers weren't eye popping, even though he did go for 262. It was what he does is his control of the game, and it seems like he already has that little bit of a mastery of the offense.
Yeah, stuff was slowed down for him.
There were a couple throws where he went 1-2 on the outside, and he worked all the way to his third read in the middle of the field and delivered an absolute dime to a receiver that's throttling down in between linebackers. Like, you're going, whoa. Like, that's a guy who's not rattled by the moment. He's got a hand cannon, which is incredible to watch. And even that, like, at the end of the game, and I hope Treylon Burks is okay.
Yeah.
That was a perfect throw.
Yeah, it was literally where only he could go get it.
I mean, it was a laser beam, and it was in a tough spot because, as you said, DeAndre Hopkins was double covered right there. And it was you were going for it on 4th down. You got to you got to give your team a chance, right? So he threw that dart down the sideline, and it damn near completed that ball. But I hope Treylon Burks is okay. He made his big time throws, and that is all of that being said. His offensive line was the revolving door last night. Guys getting hurt left and right, and you're sitting there going, how? Like, they're still putting this thing together. They're not having to rely on Derrick Henry all game long. Did they win? No, they didn't. They only scored 16 points. But this goes back to, like, a couple of the things with that Desmond Ridder conversation we had the other day. One, everything that you were talking about, like, you're not seeing with Desmond Ridder, like, some of those things are really hard to kind of to describe and to say command. Like, what is command, right? What is being willing to sacrifice a throw because you trust your arm and you trust your guys, right? Like, those are hard. What all of these quarterbacks, whether it's Desmond Ridder or Jordan Love or right now Russell Wilson, are lacking is Will Levis has it in spades, which is confidence. And he's got a not just a grasp, but it seems like I don't want to say mastery because he's so young. He's got a great handle and hold of this offense.
There's a confidence
and trust. He's got trust in his receivers, which you probably shouldn't outside of DeAndre Hopkins, to be quite honest. But he does, and that it factor, he's got it.
There was something about him watching him last night, and I wasn't sure if he was supremely confident or the dumbest person on the planet.
There's a fine line.
It really is, because, like, you've got TJ Watt, they get Cam Hayward back, they've got Highsmith. The Steelers are they're teeing off. Levis is sacked 4 times, and I'm just sitting there watching the game. He is the least happy-footed rookie quarterback I think I've ever seen.
Well, I'm saying this like half joking because I think that there is an element of this. This text comes in Vancouver Ford text line that says, is this the same guy who puts mayo in his coffee? I don't think we can allow someone like that to be successful. I truly believe this. That fine line that you're talking about, that we're having this discussion over, like, either you are dumb or you got some stones that can take you to places and reach levels that you don't know.
Other people can't get to.
That fine line that scares people away, because that fine line is where Johnny Manziel lived, where Baker Mayfield has danced back and forth on, of dude, either you may be a guy that everybody just gravitates towards, or you can be a complete and utter liability.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not just you putting mayo in your coffee, right? He is a boisterous personality that puts stuff out there and kind of trolls people at times, you know? Like, because that's what that was. He doesn't really put mayo in his coffee. That was like a TikTok thing, right? But those attention-grabbing people, I think there is an element where, like, there are some people who are scared off, even though it's completely ridiculous. Like, it is absolutely and utterly ridiculous.
And he's built like a freaking Greek god. Like, you get all these things that, like, I've never seen a quarterback.
Tim Tebow-esque.
Yeah, like a functional, like, throw-the-ball quarterback built like that.
If you got abs like him and you're built like him, like Tebow, Derek Carr's got a little bit of this in him. Like, Derek Carr is oiled up bow hunk. You know, they usually don't translate, but he's a fluid athlete. I like me some Will Levis. I think that I wouldn't have wanted to draft him and I think this is an interesting point too, is that I wouldn't have wanted to use like a first-round pick on him.
Sure.
But they didn't.
But that's the thing is, like, when you talk about, like, that scare you away, does some of that, like, is he dumb?
No, he's not.
But I think that might have been why he went second. Remember, we were talking about him being, like, the 4th or 5th overall pick. Like, people were wondering if the Colts were going to take Levis and not Anthony Richardson. Like, there was real discussion about the Raiders taking him.
I was more pro Will Levis than Anthony Richardson.
Yes, we both were.
And now I'm pro both of them.
Yes, now it's like, there's two fun young quarterbacks in the league who are both absolutely massive human beings.
Yeah.
But,
and like CJ Stroud, I was always high on CJ Stroud. I really like CJ Stroud too.
This quarterback class may end up being a lot better than I thought.
Bryce Young's situation sucks for him.
It does, but I also I don't like.
And I'm going to put a hold on that. I'm going to put a hold on Bryce Young until, I don't know, he has like an owner and a coach that like each other.
That's fair.
No, I won't even say like, can stand each
exist
other.
around each other.
Yeah.
No, that's fair.
So I'm picking up what Will Levis is putting down. With all of that said, the damn Pittsburgh Steelers again played a horrific game, and they won.
Kenny Pickett, not good.
You know, Kenny Pickett, a damn warrior. Dude, Kenny Pickett was not great.
No.
But he was good enough to win, and he is hurt. He's hurt. Like, he's out there, and he's gutting that thing out, which is like the most Pittsburgh thing ever. He's going to be like he like Kenny Pickett, who went to Pitt and now plays for the Steelers. If you can become any more of a legend of a Steelers quarterback, it's you play hurt, you get your team to the playoffs, and then somehow win a Super Bowl. And
you get Deontay Johnson his first touchdown since Ben Roethlisberger threw him one. Did you hear that stat last night?
Yeah.
It was the first time he had caught it was 118 consecutive receptions without a touchdown.
I don't know. Well,
you almost got to try to do that.
Well, you also have to Matt
Kenny
Canada.
Pickett. Kenny Pickett. Back to Kenny Pickett. No, Matt Canada. Look, him going from the booth to the sidelines
didn't help him.
That was the big storyline yesterday. Like, hey, offensive coordinator Matt Canada on the sidelines.
So Mike Tomlin can strangle him.
Good Lord, that offense is not fun to watch, but that defense sure as heck is. And never a doubt the under hit. 20-16
by a point.
Yeah. And I had a few, me and a couple of buddies, we put in a parlay yesterday, and we all made the same bet, which was Najee Harris touchdown, Steelers by 3, and under 37. Entering the fourth quarter, the score was 16-13, and the Titans had the ball and were driving. And I was like, fellas,
it looked like they might do something too.
All we can afford here, the rest of the game, is a Steelers touchdown.
And that's all you got.
I'd like to thank Matt Canada's offense for not being able to score. I'd like to thank Mike Tomlin's defense for being so good, and Mike Vrabel for having an anemic offense and for some reason putting Tajay Spears in the game and handing him the ball on a critical down on 3rd down and 4.
Also, why
instead of the biggest running back in the NFL? So thank you for all of those things.
The other thing about that, can we talk about this real quick? I know we're a little over.
Yeah.
The last sequence from the Titans running the ball 3 times What the hell?
Yeah. Yeah.
Levis has been good for you.
Yeah. Well, I think because I actually know the reason for this. One, Treylon Burks is in an ambulance. Actually, did he not even go to the hospital?
No, he did. They took him
He
to the
did?
ambulance. Yeah.
Okay. So Treylon Burks is a big vertical threat for you.
Sure.
You lose him. You only have Kyle Phillips, which is an underneath. Well, he's a white guy. So he's a possession receiver. And so you're either throwing to the middle of the field and they're going to be dropping everybody back because of the threat of Kyle Phillips. They're doubling DeAndre Hopkins, so you're not going to be able to give him the ball. Who are you throwing the ball to then?
Chris Moore.
Right?
Scrolling down the list, and I'm like,
so what you're trying to do is you're trying to say, all right, we got an explosive back, Derrick Henry, we Tractorcito, we have, Spears as well, who can be our change of pace jitterbug guy. If they're going to commit only 4 to, and then, by the way, 2 of those guys are pin their ears back and get to the quarterback time. That's all they're trying to do.
oh, yeah.
So you're saying we're going to play the numbers game here, and we're going to say we've got more to block than they have, and we can get our alignment downfield.
It turns out didn't work.
No. It turns out Mike Tomlin is a very good defensive coach, and they have a very good defensive team in Pittsburgh. And so they stuffed it. And they outthought themselves, and they didn't have anybody.
And now every single team in the AFC North is above 500.
Dude,
8 weeks or 9 weeks in the season.
I've said this before, and I will say it again, and I'll leave you Thursday Night Football with this. The Pittsburgh Steelers and Iowa Hawkeyes dress like each other and play like each other.
Matt Canada is Brian Ferentz. Yeah. What if they swapped?
Just tradesies.
Yeah.
Straight up.
What if one was actually really good in college, the other one was really good in the NFL?
Well, we know Matt Canada is not good in college because we've seen that before.
Oh, that's right.
It's like that Yankees family swap in the 70s.
Yeah. Wait, what?
That one went over my head.
No, there was a couple. I don't remember if they were both pitchers or what, but
Oh, yeah.
each pitcher was
Stupid the other's wife.
I do remember that one now.
So they divorced, and then they just basically swapped families.
Yeah. But the therapy bill is through the roof for their children.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a Reddit post that has a little something about that we might have to talk about during the break.
Okay. So Iowa is Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is Iowa. Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel.
Mm.
It's all the same.
You beat me to it.
It's all the same.
Who's hiding Mr. Winky?
Laces out.
All right. On that note,
It's in one of Dan Marino's isotoners.
here's Russ with SportsCenter.
This is a Football Friday edition of Danny and Dusty.
Brought to you by the Odyssey app.
Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
First on the Fan, number 6 Oregon Ducks, 24.5-point favorites hosting Cal tomorrow afternoon at Autzen Stadium, 2:30 kick on the Pac-12 Network. Our live coverage from Eugene starts with Ducks game day at 10 o'clock with Dirt Dusty and Anthony Newman. Stick around after the game for the Ducks post-game scoreboard show with Swag and Will Ortner. Number 16 Oregon State on the road facing Coach Prime in Colorado at Folsom Field for a little Pac-12 after dark. 7 o'clock kick on ESPN. The Beavs are 13.5-point favorites. In the NFL, Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski announced Deshaun Watson will make his return under center Sunday against the Cardinals. Steelers linebacker Cole Holcomb out for the season after suffering a knee injury last night against the Titans. And the Trailblazers start in-season tournament play tonight at Moda Center, looking for their 3rd straight win, hosting the 0-5 Grizzlies. 7 o'clock tip on Root Sports. Scoot Henderson out with an ankle injury. The Blazers are 3.5-point dogs. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Russ at the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk. Watch and wager on every game at Spirit Mountain Casino with a sportsbook powered by BetMGM. Learn more at spiritmountain.com.
Your favorite fan shows are on YouTube. Mash the subscribe button and like us for live streaming video and 1080 The Fan on demand.
Portland Perks.
Head to Portland.
I broke Rust.
See what I have to do. See what I have to deal
God,
with.
we thought I overdid it.
Yeah. Here we are. Okay. We're done with Thursday Night Football. Thursday Night Football was great. We have an unbelievable weekend of football this entire weekend, though. I'm really excited for the college and NFL slate because if you think of what we have in the college ranks, you got Bama, LSU. That's a great game.
Yes.
I don't care who you are. Oregon State is going to Colorado. We'll dive into this game a little bit more, but there's a lot more to Dion's meeting that he had with his offensive line than just him, calling them out unfairly and then having a private meeting with them. They have changed offensive coordinators. Remember, the offensive coordinator that they were absolutely gushing over and getting rave reviews.
It's not that side of the ball that's a problem.
Sean Lewis, remember the Kent State head coach who left Kent State.
A head coaching position to become a coordinator, which he wasn't fired from.
That's right.
Again, Kent State's offense, one of the worst in the country this year.
Now, they were one of the best.
But I'm saying this year,
they
one
were
of the worst in the country. Quite literally, not a kind of. They're bottom 5.
And they're very bad. They're very bad. But Sean Lewis, I mean, he was the toast of the town, like what he was doing. And look, Sean Lewis is a very bright, young coaching mind. He's young, too. I think he's mid-30s. I think he may be like 35.
I hate seeing these people younger than me being successful.
But he has now been demoted, and Pat Shurmur is now the offensive coordinator. Yeah, that Pat Shurmur, former NFL head coach Pat Shurmur, who has been an analyst for the team. So this is something that not a lot of folks are going to be talking about because, why would you? But Pat Shurmur being elevated from an analyst to a coaching position means that Dion had to demote somebody on his staff from a full-time position in the middle of the year. The middle of a year in which they're exceeding expectations, Colorado is. And he's demoting one of their coaches.
On the side
to
of the
make
ball.
a change on the side of the ball that doesn't need it.
But again, this is where I think it may be hard to draw that line between dad and head coach for Dion because his son is playing at an insane level of quarterback play.
I mean, Dion Sanders he could go to the NFL this year. I don't think I would if I were him because I think he's not quite a first round grade based on the sample size because he can't stay upright because there's no offensive line.
Well, and the quarterbacks in this class too.
Yes. And next year, if they do get some semblance of an offensive line, and he's already had the heat from this year of being like Drake May last year. You've already got that heat behind you. Now you come into the season, you're probably the front runner.
Rocket fuel.
For a Heisman. And I shouldn't by front runner, I should say one of the front runners. Like you're on the initial, you're in the top 5 as far as the early season odds. Yeah. You're probably looking at like one of the Georgia or Alabama quarterbacks, and then probably Shedeur.
Yeah. I mean, and look, all of this is signaling towards with Pat Shurmur is that they need to run the ball more effectively. But I don't know if they're built to. But to be quite honest, I don't know if they are built to run the football because of how poor the offensive line is. Pass blocking is a lot easier, and they're not really even good at that. Maybe these offensive linemen are saying, hey, we are more downhill guys. We need to be able to run the ball. But do you have the hosses to do it in the backfield? And then are you taking away what makes your offense so great, which is Xavier Weaver, Travis Hunter, and Dylan Edwards out of the backfield as a receiver in the ball in Shedeur Sanders' hands, right? Mm-hmm. Like, this is going to be different for Oregon State. Regardless for the Beavs, run the football and you win.
Well, yeah, I mean, Damian Martinez and Deshaun Fenwick and DJ, they should run for a combined 280 yards this weekend.
Yeah. So we got that game. I just said we'll talk about that game later. We just talked about that game quite a bit. I still got more. I got more football notes in my brain.
Well, one quick thing. Yeah. So with Dion throwing the offensive line under the bus and coming and making a move like this, at what point does decisions like this start to cost him in terms of recruiting and who he can get to come in on his staff and work for him? With questions of stability.
That's a really good question, but and I don't know. But here's the thing: Dion does come from the NFL style and NFL mentality. And one thing I heard Rich Eisen say one time that is kind of stuck with me is that he said, when Dion got the job, he said, I'm really interested to see how Dion will react when things don't go well. Because he goes, when we would sit and he said, it's not the personality of Dion Sanders. It's not like him imploding. It is when they would watch, when Dion worked at the NFL Network, he and Rich were on the same set together with Mariucci and Michael Irvin. And like, by the way, that was a low key,
insane.
It was a really good show. Too.
Insane level of casting.
But he said that they would sit there and they'd watch games together. And Dion would say, watching an NFL game, I'm going to fire his ass. I'd replace him, cut him, get rid of him, fire him. And that was like on a play-to-play basis because that's the world of the NFL. Like, that's what the NFL is, man. And Dion comes from that. And if you look at his staff, a lot of his guys are NFL guys.
Yes, because they know the zero-sum game of it all. And the same is true of a lot of – you've seen a lot of those guys that are coming from the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about Herm with obviously everything that went sideways at Arizona State, but look at that staff.
Yeah, Antonio Pierce is now a head coach.
But you're looking at guys where it's a different mentality.
Yeah.
And probably part of the reason things went sideways at Arizona State was because of how they operate like an NFL team.
Yep.
Let's look at Michigan with Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Very similar situation where you've got guys that have experienced at alternate levels where they're just going to run things like an NFL team, which I think we're just going to kind of push, not just like some coaches, the next 5 to 8 years, it's going to get that way. And that's the legalization of the NIL. That's the recognizing the giant elephant in the room of this isn't amateur sports and that it is a zero-sum game because there is billions of dollars at stake.
Yep.
Just because Dion's doing it earlier shouldn't be this, oh, that's not how this operates. It kind of is. When you're talking about Power 5 schools, yes. Now, if you want to talk about FCS or lower level football, if you want to talk about MACtion, sure.
Whoa! What a shot at MACtion!
I'm just saying.
What a shot at MACtion!
That's the
what did MACtion do to you?
That's where you go to learn.
Yeah, you're right.
But that's where
that's why it's the cradle of coaches.
Yes, that's where you go to learn, where the stakes aren't as high, and it's not a zero-sum game.
That's right.
It's literally where Dion went and plucked his freaking OC from.
Yeah, I agree, and this is very reactionary, and that's a good question, Rust, that you asked, and a good response by Danny.
There you go.
We covered that base. So that game's happening. We also have got the SEC has got another game. Missouri goes to Georgia. We're going to see Georgia. Here's the test that they get. They're playing the 12th ranked team in the country. They are 2 touchdown favorites. Actually, more than that, 15. So I guess
15
maybe we'll
and a
see.
half.
Yeah. 15 and a
That's a stinky line.
Texas hosts Kansas State as well. That is upset alert in high regard. And then
Bedlam.
Well, Bedlam always gets weird. I mean, I love that.
No matter how good or bad either school is,
You know what?
that game is weird.
And then you have to boot USC UW, which is going to be points drunk. At
I
4:30.
do not like how much everyone is picking SC.
That's going to
knock it off.
Points drunk.
The over-under line 76 and a half. The line is 76 and a half.
And my immediate gut reaction was go over. But I don't know. You know what? You mentioned Bedlam. I love Bedlam. It is one of my favorite rivalries. We need to talk a little Bedlam because earlier this week, shots were fired, and this is why rivalries are great. This is what I'm going to miss about the Pac-12 being gone and the Oregon State rivalry not being the same and the Apple Cup not being at the same time of the year. I will miss moments like these. Danny and Dusty on the Fan. But Bedlam is coming up this weekend. Oklahoma State, which that is a phenomenal name for a rivalry. It's one of my favorite.
It's one of the better ones. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it is. I think it's it's a great name.
Have you gotten to watch OK State much?
I'm going to be completely honest. No.
The only reason I wanted to pull this up to show you this.
Yeah.
Do you see this number right here that I'm highlighting?
Yeah.
It's 7.7.
Yeah.
That's the yards per carry he's averaging.
Their running back.
Yeah.
What's his name? Ollie Gordon.
Yeah. It is something, man. I don't know how it got into my algorithm, but I got Ollie Gordon highlights in my social media algorithm a couple days ago. Holy crap.
Mike Gundy does not get the credit he deserves for being the offensive wizard that he is. It is
no longer 40.
It is he is a man who is 55 years old. But Mike Gundy, year after year, we have had so many different iterations of his offenses. And when he has guys like Justin Blackmon on the outside, they are a throw-first team. When he has guys like Ollie Gordon or Chuba Hubbard in his backfield, they pound the rock. Like, they ebb and they flow. They move with their different quarterbacks, where they have Mason Rudolph back there. I don't even know who's their quarterback right now, but it probably looks the same. Like, they all look like 6'2" to 6'3" and probably like 230-pound quarterbacks. So you're like, that guy is just thick.
Yeah.
And he's dressed like a little orange highlighter out there, just whipping the ball around. But no matter what, their offense is always productive.
Yeah.
And it's Oklahoma State. Like,
when they're not Oklahoma, they're not Texas. Hell, they're not Texas Tech.
No.
Because Texas Tech will get the air raid style guys that'll funnel to that place.
They have if usually these offensive guys are one-dimensional.
Sure.
Mike Gundy is.
He just kind of bends it to whatever he's got, which is pretty damn impressive when you think about it.
Especially for being in Stillwater and being Oklahoma State. They're second fiddle in their own state.
In a state that people
really
don't want to go to outside of the region.
Yeah. But in Mike Gundy, the person, boy, you want to talk about we talked about this with Dabo the other day, the thumb on the scale.
Oh,
and I'm more power hungry than player equity guy. That's Mike Gundy. But he talked about Bedlam. Because they're going through what we're going through here. Oregon and Oregon State, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. One's going to the SEC, one's staying in the Big 12. And there's not going to be this guarantee of Bedlam meaning the same thing when they're not in the same conference.
It didn't bother me because we didn't have phones and social media. But it was a rivalry then. Like, Bosworth spit in my face. I spit in his face. I mean, it was actually a rivalry, right? Like, the summer of before my sophomore year, I would go to parties in Oklahoma City and they would say, well, Bosworth and Migliozzo and some of those guys were here. And so I had to make a decision whether, were we going to have confrontation there and who was with me? Because, I mean, I'm not going to, those guys, I can kick them in the shin and run like hell, but I'm not dumb. So we had to make those decisions because, I mean, what kind of a frame of mind was Brian going to be in on that point? I don't know.
The steroid kind.
Had he
taken
a vitamin C and had a few drinks, well, he might not be a guy you want to talk to at that point.
Vitamin C.
He'd get real red and cross his face. So it was a rivalry then. Now it's not as much anymore, unfortunately, because of the way it is. But it's a very important game.
So in the wake of that little rant by Mike Gundy, Brian Bosworth cut a wrestling promo on Twitter. He said, guess what, Coach G? Bedlam still is a rivalry, and Big Brother still wants to whip Little Brother's ass. How about we meet this Saturday at your place? Let's say the 50-yard line so we can exchange pleasantries the old-fashioned way, face to face. I'll see you there, boomer.
What you gonna do, brother?
Oh, yeah. And he capitalized like in your and about where OU are next to each other.
Yes.
It's OU's capitalized the entire time.
Because as one does when they don't stop using steroids, it does brain damage.
Whoa. No, that's just he's an Oklahoma guy.
Brain
Do you
damage?
think his iPhone is autocorrected to every single iteration of OU?
To capitalize
It's
it?
all capitalized in
Well,
there.
that would mean he knows how to spell.
No, he had somebody go in and just be like, I need that all changed.
I thought you were gonna ask if going to Oklahoma made you just dumb, but
Wow. There's plenty of people from Oklahoma.
Mhm.
There's plenty of smart
sure.
people from Oklahoma. There's
No.
smart people. That's just rude. What do you think they say about us hicks out in Oregon?
Mm.
Think about that.
Mm.
Yeah. See? They're like, they just call them hippies. They call us all hippies out
Sure.
here.
You're a hippie whether you're from like Vancouver, BC, or San Diego. Doesn't matter.
That
It's
tracks.
all
It all
the same.
tracks. It all
Yeah.
tracks. It all tracks. I think I don't know.
But also,
enough about-
in all seriousness, I'm glad that there's like some sort of rivalry here.
Yeah.
Like, good. I hope the kids have it.
Yeah.
That's the bigger issue. It's not the 50-year-olds.
Well, I'm looking up states education.
I bet you Oregon's not that high. It used to be.
No. Oh God, no.
Oregon used to. When I moved here as a kid, I think part of the reason my parents moved here is they were like 10th in the
Yeah.
country.
Washington is currently 10th.
Oh, there you go.
Number 1 is Florida.
Was this poll taken in Florida?
Yeah, probably.
Last I saw, like Oregon was like 43rd.
Well, I'm still scrolling. And I'm passing most of the South right now.
Yeah,
So Oregon needs to get off their high horse, number 39.
yeah. So they're at that same range.
But
Have
I
you seen-
have
you've
not
seen Oklahoma yet?
Oklahoma yet. Hey,
It's usually like Mississippi, Alabama at the bottom. Too.
nope, New Mexico and Alaska.
Oh, wow.
This according to usnews.com.
And Oklahoma's like
Seems
what, 47?
trustworthy. Oklahoma, number 48 in education, number 1 in your heart.
There you go. There you go.
They're 49th in pre-K through 12. And then
So it gets better in college?
35th. Oregon, 42nd in pre-K and 23rd in higher education. Thank you, Reed College and Lewis and Clark. Willamette.
Willamette.
Appreciate you guys. Linfield.
Willamette's still there despite my best efforts in the mid 90s.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Number 1 in pre-K through 12, New Jersey.
This thing is all jacked up.
Hey, you question it, and you'll find yourself in cement boots out.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
That's
Somewhere
what
in the
happened
Staten
here.
Island dump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
All
come on.
right.
Staten Island's New York.
I know.
All right. Hour number 2. Let's dive into the Pac-12 games a little bit more. We have the Bedlam, the rivalry. It's going to be fantastic. But we got some great games across the board, including let's get back into that Oregon State-Colorado game a little bit more, because I think there's some meat on the bone with Oregon State and this matchup with the Buffs, where they can get back on track if you stick to who you are. Danny Dusty on the Fan. 3-0 start. I'm no math guy,
Mm.
but that means we're 1-4.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
You know, Oregon State, you know, one thing about Jonathan Smith is his teams have really taken care of business
Sure.
when against teams that they should, right? Beavers are 13-2 since the start of last season versus teams that are not ranked in the AP top 25.
Who are the two losses to?
I don't know. They're 4-1 this season.
Yeah.
Against them, and I would venture to guess that it may be. Let me look at last season because I mean we know this year was Arizona, obviously, but last year that would have been was it I don't know. Washington. It was Washington last year.
They weren't ranked?
No. November 4th.
Huh.
Washington was not ranked when they played last year on November 4th. Which seems a little odd.
Yeah.
But,
okay, anyways.
Yeah.
That's why when you said 2, I was like, who the hell's the other one?
Yeah. Washington would be the other one. Other than that, they lose to teams that you sit there and you say,
yeah, okay.
Yeah, you probably should. And guess what that Washington team was last year? Pretty good. A pretty good football team. And that's what kind of like the frustrating part with that loss last week against Arizona is we knew it. We talked about it going into that week. You're going to the desert. It's Tucson. It's a night game. Things get weird. And oh, by the way, this ain't the Arizona team that started this season. This is a completely different Arizona football team because they were playing defense at a insane clip of taking away the best part of what an offense that they're going up against brings to the table. I mean, really, that's what they've kind of leaned on against in those 3 games leading up to this, where it was Washington State. They got a win. The 2 losses against Washington and USC. You know, they got into a shootout with USC, that 43-41 game, but they flustered Caleb Williams. They pressured him. They made him kind of contain him to a pocket, but also force his throws, which I think that may be where the biggest knocks are coming from Caleb Williams now, the people that are trying to naysay him.
Yeah.
It is, well, what do you think NFL teams are going to try and do? What Arizona try to do? He'll be just fine. He's going to be okay. But that Arizona team is much improved, and they are scary. They're scary right now.
No,
downright scary, despite what their record says.
You do not want to play that team.
No. But when you look at them going to Colorado this week, this is one where it is an impose your will game. And I would be stunned if the Beavs don't roll into Boulder,
put a pellet on the wall,
and they just run all over them.
Because I mean that's been not even the Achilles heel. That's they've been that team that just gets run all over. And you look at Oregon State as a team. Again, we've belabored this point so many times. They don't just have a good offensive line in the conference. They've got one of the better offensive lines in the country.
Yep.
And they will get into you, and they will maul you, and they will push you out of the way. And they just don't – Colorado doesn't have enough junk in the trunk to keep that from happening.
Yep. And they're a top 30 rush offense in the country. They've gone away from it and kind of been stymied at times, which has been a little bit confusing. I know it's been a growing frustration with Beaver fans, even though, like, look, last week also comes down to the fake field goal attempt, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't think that was the deciding. I know it's 3 points, but there's so much more football to be played to where you can rebound from that, right? And case in point is there's a lot of pivot points during the Civil War game last year against the Ducks where in that first half you could have pointed at decisions that were made by either Jonathan Smith or the quarterback that got them into a hole. But guess what they did? They ran the ball so many times late in the game, and they didn't put the ball in the air again, and they won the football game. If they end up losing that game, it's like, well, they should have thrown the ball and maybe saved themselves a little bit of clock, right? Revisionist history.
Sure.
They ran the ball when everybody's like, oh, my God. Their back's up against it. And Oregon imploded, too.
Yes. But what was it? Was
Imploded.
it 13 straight runs?
Yeah, to end the game.
Yeah. I mean, that's
when you're losing.
Yeah. You can say what you want, but when your back's against the wall and you have to do what you have to do best, it's not, at that last year, it was not put the ball in the hands of your quarterback. It was, hey, Deshaun Fenwick, come here, bud.
Yeah.
Hey, Damian Martinez, come here, bud. And you said, when it came literally push to shove, we will win that battle. And they did it 13 times in a row. Again, Oregon imploded. That the lead up to that. But when it mattered, they said, we don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something to be said about that. And I haven't seen that performance from Oregon State this year. Not that they haven't run the ball. Like you said, they're top 30 nationally running the ball. But I haven't seen them say, all right, well, we're going to go student body right for 15 straight plays. Good luck.
Well, and I'll tell you, like, they should, that's what you do in this game. You go into Boulder and you say, what is our identity? We lean on our identity, and we go in there and we take the crowd out of it early by smashing the ball between the tackles.
4.5, 5 yards of carry, just boom.
Going up against a team that is 10th in the Pac-12 and 98th nationally in rush yards per game on the defensive side in Colorado, and you say, we are going to stick it to you. There is no ands, ifs, or buts about it. That is like the medicine Oregon State needs. And I can't wait to see it because you could kind of feel it brewing. And look, if Jonathan Smith identifies something that he really wants to go at in the passing game, I get it. They have the number one recruit at corner in the country from this last class. They have Travis Hunter. They got Shiloh Sanders. Guess where the Buffalo's defense ranks in passing yards allowed per game? 132nd nationally. 11th in the Pac-12. Like,
I mean, Stanford aired it out on them.
Let's be completely honest here.
You still got to get a pass rush, and they don't have that ability.
They don't got it.
You can't have, just because you have, listen, Hunter's a great corner. He's also probably got maybe the most obscene play of the college football season on his head.
Yeah.
Like,
Mayo Manor.
Yeah, when you don't have a front seven that's capable of really offering any level of resistance, you can only be on an island so many times.
Yeah.
It just is what it is.
I think that this game will be very telling for both of these schools. For Oregon State, it is do what you have done in the past and just get back to what you were. You know, don't let last week linger. Don't let Arizona beat you twice. And
you got to rinse that taste out of your mouth.
Absolutely nothing in Jonathan Smith's tenure that will tell you, like, he's going to allow that Arizona game to linger and beat you twice. I think last year they lost back-to-back games to SC and Utah, but it was SC and Utah, and they were really good teams. This is a different animal, and this isn't going to be something that I believe lets the Beavs linger. And I'm really interested to see how the secondary reacts because, look, Colorado may try to run the football, but their best matchup in this game is
get
to
it to the
throw
outside and see what happens.
And have those growth moments. Have those growth points for if you're the Beavs this week.
No, I think it can be a referendum on Colorado of where they currently stand. And that's not a problem. But if Dion's having that meeting with his offensive line and they're changing offensive coordinators and all those things, is there some stuff going on behind the scenes? Probably. Yeah. But also at the same time, you still have to make a realistic evaluation of where you currently sit.
Yeah.
That's part of the growth process. As much as we talk about Oregon State and where they are right now, they were not there 3 years ago. So you've got you don't get to draw the straight line to get there. You've got to take the development arc. And I think that is going to be what's interesting to see how Dion Sanders handles that. Because there's no doubt about him getting this team, getting this program to a significantly better place. But can you handle that you're not going to be what you were to what you want to be in the same season?
Hey, to that point, a win gets Jonathan Smith back to 500.
Look at that.
All time. He's 32-33 heading into this game as a head coach.
Just teetering.
God, but what he's done the last 2 seasons are
pretty impressive.
Not indicative of that. I think they should strike the first year from his coaching record.
Are there 10 coaches in the country you take over Jonathan Smith?
10? Oh. It depends. I mean, it depends on where you're at. Because does Jonathan Smith work at a USC?
I think he does.
I don't know. Because I don't think Jonathan Smith wants to
Sure.
or connects with the Ferrari, like the USC type athlete.
My only pushback to that is that this Jonathan Smith was a Dennis Erickson guy.
No, I know. Oh, I know
Which
that.
means he can do
He
that.
can connect with those guys, but look at the way this team is built. Like
Sure.
he is built in so much development and substance, and it's no ego, right? Like he's really, and that's what those Ferraris are, right?
Yeah.
That's what SC is.
Yeah, 100%.
That's part of the thing
Part
with
of the
being
allure.
at SC is
Yeah.
like, hey, you got to be an ego manager just as much as an X's and O's guy as a head coach.
Because you're getting divas.
Yeah,
are.
because that's what the
that's-
5-star is,
yeah.
and that's what. But I think that Jonathan Smith, so like an SC, he wouldn't be a good fit. But Jonathan Smith works at a majority of programs
Michigan?
around this country. Hell yeah, he does.
Yeah, see, he's more of a Lexus guy.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Ocho Cinco still owes him one.
he's got a he's got a Lexus, and he's got like a bunch of just like Toyota Camrys and Ford Focuses.
I was gonna go G wagon.
Yeah,
No.
I'll go, but he can coach a G-Wagon.
Yeah.
Look at DJ. DJ's a G-Wagon.
Yeah.
He's a 5-star guy that checked his ego,
Sure.
and that's your G-Wagon.
There you go.
That's talking car coaches. But 10. I don't know if it's 10. He's in that conversation.
That's what I mean. Like the fact that I put 10 out there, you're not immediately going, sure.
No. But I mean, there's guys like, would I take Harbaugh, cheating aside? Yep.
Yeah.
Is Saban smart? Yes, yes.
Norvell?
I think they're kind of in the same.
Yeah. Whittingham?
No, Whittingham's the best coach, and I mean that guy's
Yeah.
amazing.
What about a guy like,
he's in that.
what about a guy like Fickle?
Luke Fickle's really damn good.
Kind of the same level?
Yeah, like, and then you're putting Lanning in there now
Yeah.
because he's recruiting juggernaut.
Yeah.
Kalen DeBoer and Jonathan Smith, I think, and like Smith and DeBoer are really, really interesting too because developers of talent, really good X's and O's guys, not the best recruiters in the world, but they can recruit. And I'd put that like they are the same to me. Like they are brilliant
Kindred
football
spirits.
coaches who they develop those guys and they squeeze the juice out. And like that's why it's like neither one of them works at every program, but Smith would work at UW too, I think, because he's coached there before. And they've done a really damn good job too. That's an interesting question. I'd have to. I'm gonna look at that and I'll put a list together.
There you go.
All right. Hey, a very, very, very promising article on one of the promising players of this Blazers young season. Next on The Fan. and you have to be the Plus subscriber to get all of it.
Indeed.
But he threw out a name for most improved player, Shaden Sharp.
Yeah.
Early impressions, just 5 games in. Don't want to overreact.
But that's what a 26-point half will do for you.
Yeah, it sure will.
It's super useful. And the thing is, I after we talked about this a little bit about this yesterday, there's I'm trying not to be the poo-pooer of things.
Yeah.
Because in a season like this, there's going to be plenty of things to poo-poo. So I want to not get mad about people being like, no, they're winning games. It's like, sure, they're winning games.
Yep.
Because there's not going to be a ton of moments like this probably as far as like the wins. But this is what I mean is like as far as celebrate the growth, the moments.
Yeah.
A 26.8 for 11 half where Shaden Sharp, and again, I don't think a lot of people knew this had happened. Scoot Henderson and Shaden Sharp in the first half were benched.
They were benched at the end of the half, yeah.
And Chauncey told them, this game's too big for y'all. Just big boyed them. And then lit into them both at half.
Huh?
Scoot comes out and has 5 points, 4 assists before getting rolled up on. And for those that aren't aware, Scoot Henderson is out tonight. I was told
amputation is
by,
on the table.
by multiple folks that it's a run-of-the-mill ankle roll, and it's just a little bit sore. So you're fine there. Don't panic. I would imagine he's probably back in a week at the most. It does not appear to be anything detrimental.
No amputations.
Yes. But as it pertains to Shaden Sharp, he could go for 12 points tonight on 22 shots. But you're going to look back at the game against Detroit and go, you want to see that ebb and flow and you want to see that real growth. Shaden Sharp last year, when they put him out there to start the season, it was a surprise. Oh, okay. Was lost. And the only thing he was effective at doing was catching and shooting, and that was only when he had his feet set. Now you look at him this year, even in the difference between the end of last season, when the season didn't matter, and there's just tossing the ball and just getting him reps, he looked comfortable, and he looked comfortable with the ball in his hands. He looked comfortable with the coming off down screens. He looked comfortable getting into the paint. Like, there's still plenty to work on. His handle still needs work. He still needs to develop something going to his left. He still needs to get his head up and find those passing lanes. But those are the development points that you're looking at. And,
I mean, defense, too.
Yeah,
defense.
Yes.
Defense.
And that was the reason he got benched, was because he got beat on multiple backdoors. There's actually something I'm going to be writing, and I don't know how much of the season you've watched yet, but there's been this thing with Shaden Sharp off ball. And the guys that are really good at this, it's an innate ability, and they just have it. Shaden Sharp playing off ball is recognizing when the ball is going to swing to his side. And he is using his obscene athleticism to jump the pass. And those are the ones that turn into the breakaway, highlight dunks. And I don't know if it's, this desire to get the highlight dunk or to get free points or to just be a defensive playmaker.
Yeah.
But he has darted out for those passes more in these 5 games than I saw him do all of last year.
Yeah.
And it's a real change. And those are the kind of growth markers you look at when you're looking at a guy taking steps and getting on these kind of award lists.
There's something to this. And what you just said right there is a guy who also has that, and it's that fine line again. That fine line. The guy who has that innate ability, but you have to know when to pick and choose your times to see that pass coming and when you jump it.
Because if you take the wrong one, you are getting fried.
It's James Harden.
Mm-hmm.
James Harden has that ability.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the guy led the league in steals a few times. And he's like, you look at his numbers, you're like, see, James Harden plays defense. Yeah, James Harden also is a liability at times because he'll try to make that play and the opponent will either make a pass he wasn't expecting, not pass it, or they'll back cut on him and he gets caught with his pants down and it ends up hurting you defensively. And that's where it is dependent on, one, the player to be coachable, but also coaching to kind of pound it into his head when you pick and choose your times to do it and kind of take that next step in the evolution is once teams see that this is what you do, what is your counter and how do you counter it to where you are playing contextually team defense.
And the interesting thing about this is that Shaden Sharp is doing this while playing an obscene amount of minutes.
Yep.
He with Ant down and then Scoot down. I believe against Detroit he finished with 42 of 48. That's a lot.
Say that again.
I believe he finished with 42 of 48 minutes played. Let me double check it.
Okay.
I know it was at least 40, but I remember looking up and going, is he at 42 minutes played? Yeah, 42 minutes and 2 seconds.
Oh.
That's how much time he played against Detroit.
Wow.
So basically he played the entire second half.
Yeah.
In fact, he might have played.
But injury also plays a part in that.
He played a minute and a half on the. He had a minute and a half on the bench.
Yeah.
He played 22:31.
Yeah,
in the second half.
Look, that is production and need to because of the injury.
Because of the fact that
no Ant, no Scoot.
The team that had all the guards now has a guard problem, and you're probably going to see Malcolm Brogdon starting alongside Shaden Sharp tonight with Skylar Mays playing probably 30 minutes. But
wouldn't hate to see it.
It's going to be interesting. But these are the kind of the markers that you look at. According to Cleaning the Glass, Shaden's usage rate is up almost 6%. Again, this is only 5 games, but it's the fact that he's doing it in a role that matters, where teams are trying to take stuff away.
Yeah.
And his points per shot is up. His assist rate has doubled.
Yeah.
Doubled.
That's pretty good.
It's going from basically none to some.
5 games.
So,
5 games.
yeah.
5 games. We'll check in.
Those are the things to watch, though, as we're leaning towards that stuff.
And now that we have that, can you give me 30 seconds as to why the play-in tournament is meaningful tonight?
30 seconds? Oh, that's a lot.
We'll allow it at the end of the show, too.
Okay, well, the big thing here is just something different. Something different.
The old stranger.
Yes, you got to switch it up. You already, the general fan already didn't care. They already didn't care. So go ahead and sit on that hand for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
All right.
They have nothing to lose here.
All right.
You can always go back to old reliable and not care.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, they're doing it. You had a different looking court.
Yeah, listen.
You got different looking uniforms. They're trying to tell us this is different.
It looks like a runway. For those that haven't seen it, it's like the court is cut up in thirds lengthwise. The top and bottom thirds are fire engine red. The middle is the wood color with the NBA in-season tournament trophy. They just need to call it the NBA Cup. The contrast on this, the Blazers are going to play the Lakers on this.
Not good.
During this in-season tournament, and we've already looked at the NBA locker. The Lakers are going to wear their purple jersees on this.
Yellow.
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 Oh, God.
Hey, when you get that 100 points for the Chicken McNuggets, though, it's going to be like already look McDonald's.
Ketchup and mustard.
Oh, God. It's going to look so bad in that court. It's going to look so bad. Speaking of things that are going to look really, really, really bad on courts, James Harden. We'll get to that and more.
Damn.
First, here's the Big Kahuna Sports Center update.
I hear they got some tasty burgers.
This is a Football Friday edition of Danny and Dusty.
Brought to you by the Odyssey app.
Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on the Fan, the number 6 Oregon Ducks, 24.5-point favorites, hosting Cal tomorrow afternoon at Autzen Stadium. That's a 2:30 kick on Pac-12 Network. Our live coverage from Eugene starts with Ducks game day at 10 o'clock with Dirt, Dusty, and Anthony Newman. And stick around after the game for the Ducks post-game scoreboard show with Swag and Will Ortner. Number 16 Oregon State on the road facing Coach Prime in Colorado at Folsom Field for a little Pac-12 after dark 7 o'clock kick on ESPN. The Beavs are 13.5-point favorites. In the NFL, Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski announced Deshaun Watson will make his return under center Sunday against the Cardinals. Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray making the trip, but is officially questionable Sunday against the Browns as he continues his recovery from a torn ACL. And Steelers linebacker Cole Holcomb out for the season after suffering a knee injury last night against the Titans. The Trailblazers indeed start in-season tournament play tonight at Moda Center, looking for their 3rd straight win, hosting the 0-5 Grizzlies. 7 o'clock tip on Root Sports. Scoot Henderson a no-go with an ankle injury. The Blazers are 3.5-point dogs. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk. Watch and wager on every game at Spirit Mountain Casino with a sportsbook powered by BetMGM. Learn more at spiritmountain.com.
This is your home for year-round NFL coverage. The Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan.
Sponsored by
It's time for today's worst day on the web. With Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
Man, that sucks.
Oh, I'm going to put an image into your head. You're not going to like it. You're not going to like it one bit. The NBA and Skims, the underwear company owned by Kim Kardashian, have come to an agreement as the official underwear supplier to the NBA.
Oh, great. Now I got the farmer from American Gothic in his undies. Great. That's the visual that I need in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Pretty much. She has gone out and grabbed quite a few players just in professional sports as her
Kim
line.
Kardashian, I know.
She's grabbed a lot of players, that's for sure. But specifically Neymar Jr., Nick Bosa, and SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The funny thing about this is people have been making fun of. Did you see the tabloids circling of Neymar?
No.
He apparently has gone to Saudi Arabia and put on a few of the LBs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, getting paid $200 million a year.
I saw like something like who has the real power, Ronaldo or Messi, and it's like all of the players that went over to the Saudi league as opposed to like the 4 guys that came over with Messi to the MLS, and they're like, who has the real power? It's like the Saudis who have a bunch of money,
the ones that are paying $200 billion for them to play against nobody. Well,
didn't Messi turn down $1 billion to play there?
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a lot.
He's doing just fine.
Yeah, and also
he can go to a grocery store and nobody recognizes him.
Yeah, Mbappe also did not want to go to Saudi Arabia, and there was a $1 billion clause there for him. Yeah, the Saudis have real crazy money. I say all of this to say there is a underwear deal between the NBA and Skims. TMZ caught up with Adam Silver, the guy that looks like the alien from Men in Black.
Man, that's rough.
Accurate.
Yeah.
Adam Silver, those don't know, very, very tall man.
I went farmer from American Gothic, but that's the alien that's not even human, man.
But they asked him if the product was any good. And Adam Silver said, although I'm not going to show you, I'm wearing them right now. I strongly recommend them to everyone. So there's that mental image, Adam Silver and Skims. And then he went on to go full Dion Sanders. He went on to further elaborate. When guys are more comfortable, makes them play better. So yes, gonna have a direct impact on the game.
Ooh, look good, feel good, play good. Let's go.
Uh-huh. He went look good, feel good, play good, get paid good.
That's right.
Which not expecting that from Adam Silver, but also screw him for putting the mental image of him in Skims underwear in my head. We could have gone without that.
Yeah. We
could have gone with Kim Kardashian.
There we go. What is the benefit of Skims here? What is Skims bringing to the table?
Kim Kardashian?
Okay.
I'm sure she's been at a few tables.
I'm looking at this.
Well, maybe they're hoping for a Taylor Swift type effect.
They're technically constructed briefs and boxers. As
opposed to untechnically?
Yeah, that's right. I don't even know what that means.
I mean, you know what that is.
That's from technically constructed briefs and boxers to ultra soft tanks and tees. Like, I understand.
That's a copywriter who is really good at their job because that's what that stuff is. It's just, you just make it up and go, yeah, that.
This is Elaine Bennis in the catalog room doing the pitches.
Billy Mumphrey.
100%.
Like, how do we differentiate these? They got a little they got the little junk pocket there. Oh, somebody's already used the junk pocket.
That gives you the unbridled enthusiasm.
That's right. Designed to aid performance, these lightly compressive base layers are engineered to sit seamlessly under workout clothes for maximum comfort and support.
Look, I'm not going to be mad at somebody labeling something like that. I used the Duluth Trading Company underwear with the bullpen underwear.
Yeah,
because it had like little huggers to keep stuff in line.
Yeah.
And then they also had their ballroom jeans.
See, at least they're getting creative with it.
Is that for dancing?
Yes, that's exactly
what that means.
It's ballroom jeans.
Yeah.
But
I mean, so basically what I'm getting here is buy Skims. Makes your junk look big.
Yeah.
support.
Support.
Like, I think that would be the angle that would be good. Like, people are like, oh, okay, I'll buy that. You know? Instead of Adam Silver being like, I'm wearing them. I'm not going to show you, though. It's like, I already ruined that.
Yeah, it's the fact that
Thank you for not
you
showing
didn't
me.
have to tell me that.
Mental image.
Like, that's the thing about this that's really bothering me, is we did not need to know about Skeletor wearing Skims.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I mean, he just could have said, hey, don't take it from me. Go look on their website where Nick Bosa's and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander are out on there looking all hunky.
Yeah.
I don't need that.
Literally any other human or Kim Kardashian.
Yeah. Ugh, gross.
So that's
Not
our worst day on the web. Just because Adam Silver took the misstep of thinking we somehow wanted to know about him in Skims. But coming up next, we have another person who wants to just open their mouth and say wildly stupid things that we all know is not true. Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan.
our lunches.
It's like that car that you get it when you're taking the DMV test, where the DMV instructor can drive from the other seat.
Hey,
That's what happens.
this one is worthy though,
Mm.
because this is brutal, and I think everybody laughed at him when this happened. This was going to be our worst day on the web, but we had a technical issue.
Indeed. It also probably needs its own little spot to breathe, because it's absolutely insane. Because James Harden
Much
arrives
like Adam Silver's underwear.
Yeah. Also absolutely off the charts. Not good. James Harden gets to Los Angeles and proceeds to James Harden harder than James Harden has ever James Hardened. And I don't know how to justify what the hell he said.
I don't think when I'm in a leash, I'm not meant just shooting the basketball every time. I meant like I think the game, and I'm a creator on the court. You know what I mean? So if I got a voice to where I can, hey coach, I see this. You know, what you think about this? Then it's like, oh, okay. Like somebody that trusts me, that believes in me, that understands me, that I'm just not I'm not a system player. I am a system. You know what I mean? So somebody that can have that dialogue with me and understand and move forward and figure out and make adjustments on the fly throughout the course of games, that's all I really care about. You know what I mean? It's not about me scoring the basketball, scoring 30, 34 points. I've done it already. So that's what I meant by that.
I don't even know where to start with that. Like, he said he felt like he had a leash on him in Philly. He had the ball in his hand all the time. What you know this, the analytics guy that you are. How often did James Harden have the ball in his hand in Philly?
A lot.
Okay.
I'm pulling up the exact usage rate.
Yeah.
In Philadelphia, he was in the 80th percentile, but again, that's for 4-point guards. He was at a 31% usage rate, which is obscene. That's the top of the NBA. Last year, trying to remember correctly, it was Luka and Tyrese Halliburton were the only players who had more time of possession than he did with the ball.
Yeah, so Harden had a leash.
Yeah, the leash is that he's not first anymore. Now, there's a lot of strays in there at Doc Rivers, which I fully endorse.
Totally acceptable.
But this whole idea that he had this leash on him. Yeah, dude, you were asked to play within the confines of not being the best player on the team.
Okay, so he also said that he could win with anyone and anywhere, right? And he is the system.
Yes.
Okay. So let's go through this. Scott Brooks. What was his issue with Scott Brooks in Oklahoma City then? That he had to play along other stars?
That
he was the sixth man?
Thabo Sefolosha was starting, and that he was the sixth man of the year.
Okay. Let's now go to Houston, where he was from 2013 through 2020. Okay. In that time, his coaches were Kevin McHale, JB Bickerstaff, Mike D'Antoni, and Steven Silas. 4 different head coaches. So now we're up to 5 head coaches that he has had in his career.
Mm-hmm.
None of them could figure out the system that was James Harden, because if I remember correctly, they made it to the Western Conference Finals. He had a nuclear meltdown in the playoffs. They fired Kevin McHale, and they brought in Mike D'Antoni, who Mike D'Antoni, he ran a guard-centric run-and-gun style that everybody said, hey, this is the guy for James Harden, right?
Yeah, he had a 40% usage rate with the Rockets, 40.9, which was the highest in the league.
Okay. So what was the issue there? Whose fault was that? That was the coach's fault? Okay, because we're up to 6 coaches now. How about we go now to Brooklyn, where in his, season and a half, he had Steve Nash, who was the point guard of that team.
Yes, and also hand-selected by Kevin Durant.
Okay. And now we go to Doc Rivers.
Which I finally agree with James.
7 coaches.
Yeah, the seventh time is the charm when he's talking about coaches that maybe weren't great for him.
Vastly different styles.
Across the board. Stars abound around him.
I mean, I don't think you will ever find a player, ever, who has played with as many stars as James Harden has. Think about it. Think about Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. I mean, that's just right there. That is 5.
Go
Joel
down
Embiid.
If you go down the list of James Harden's teammates, I've had this discussion with Dame in the idea of like some people are just luckier with who they've had as teammates.
Yeah.
And this is probably 2 years ago. I was like, do you sometimes wish that you were in James's shoes where you had all those teammates? And he was like, dog, just one. Just one of those other teammates. Dame never got one of those. And James has had literally a half dozen Hall of Famers, first ballot, and MVPs.
Yeah.
Russ, KD, Embiid, Chris Paul.
The delusion around him is incredible because it's his 4th team. 4th team in 4 years.
It appears he does have infinite wiggles.
I do not, like, when I say I do not understand, like, good luck, Ty Lue, good luck, Clippers, Godspeed to you. Because he doesn't get it. And he won't get it. And, like, Tiger doesn't change his stripes.
No.
And he never will. Like, there have been guys who have gotten traded and they've forced their way out of places, and it was for the best for them, and they did it for a purpose and for a reason. James Harden is just delusional.
Yes. I think it's the easiest way to go about this. And I've seen a bunch of people say, well, the quote was taken out of context. Da, 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 da.
No, it wasn't.
And no, it wasn't. And it's absolutely insane because the role they're going to ask him to play with the Clippers is a smaller role than he played with the 76ers because you have Kawhi Leonard who looks like he's Kawhi Leonard again. You have Paul George who looks like he's Paul George again. Both those players at their peak are both better than James Harden. And you also have Russell Westbrook who I have had my beef with Westbrook because he has failed to adapt or to change. He has finally swallowed his pride.
You're damn right.
And he is a useful, impactful player for the Clippers, and he's got to be sitting there throwing his hands up like, I did what I was supposed to do. What the hell?
Yeah, that's one of those things that last year during the regular season too, I gave James Harden a ton of credit because he'd stopped the flopping. And that's the leash he's talking about.
Well, not just that, Doc Rivers said this publicly on I can't remember whose podcast. I wish I could give it credit. Doc Rivers said that after James Harden didn't get his All-Star nod last year, he decided to kind of go off script.
That to me, like, everything was going right for them. And he called it putting a leash on him. Your team was succeeding. And
you were helping an MVP.
You want to talk about how you're the system and you can win championships? In what world are you talking about? Because I think what we have seen is a guy who's played around more talent than anybody has been afforded in the NBA's history. And he keeps on just throwing up all over himself.
It's staggering. I'm going to tune into the Clippers this season just because it's the train wreck. It's the car crash. You won't be able to look away from it.
Yep.
All
Good luck.
Keeping things going in hour number 3, the Oregon Ducks have the Cal Bears coming into Autzen Stadium this week. It doesn't look like it's the big burgeoning matchup that we had last week.
No.
But as we've seen over the last couple of weeks, the Cal Golden Bears are more than game.
They're a different team this year.
They are. And what do the Ducks have to do to make sure that they don't get nipped? Coming up next here on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. The Bears do present some interesting challenges and opportunities for the Ducks.
They absolutely do. I mean, and hey, a really cool thing that's going to be happening tomorrow is with Justin Wilcox obviously in the stadium and the passing of legend Dave Wilcox, Justin and Josh's father, who is an Oregon legend in his own right, an NFL Hall of Famer. They're going to honor Dave Wilcox tomorrow during the game, and I think that is absolutely awesome and so on point for just not just this week, but for that family to be honored, even though a Wilcox is on the opposing sideline leading the California Golden Bears. Dave Wilcox meant so much to the Oregon football program, and the Wilcox family has meant so much to Oregon athletics as a whole. I think it's really cool that they will be honoring Dave Wilcox and the Wilcox family before the game tomorrow.
No, having him in the building and obviously being able to have the whole family there.
Really cool.
For that is very cool.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see what they're going to do. They've been honoring Dave Wilcox with a sticker on the helmet all season long, and I think that's been a really cool touch. Is look, the Oregon football program wasn't known for a whole heck of a lot, back in the day.
No,
and Dave Wilcox is a guy from Eastern Oregon who went to Boise State before Oregon, back when it was like a JC, or maybe that was his brother. And then they went to Oregon and ended up being one of the most intimidating football players of all time for the San Francisco 49ers. So pretty cool thing, but I digress. Justin Wilcox and his team are playing.
They are, and unfortunately, you will be on the sideline for what you've checked the weather and what's going on down there?
Atmospheric river, my man. I hopefully my socks will stay dry. I'm bringing
the
several
waterproof
layers.
socks?
I'm not bringing those, but you're looking at kickoff at 2:30 in the 2:00 hour. 0.2 of an inch of rain is expected in the 2:00 hour alone.
0.2 and
I
not
believe
1/5.
in Autzen it's called liquid sunshine.
Yeah.
0.2 of an inch.
I was also
between
told
3 and 4 o'clock, and then
so for those keeping track now,
yeah,
we're at 2/5.
Yeah, we are at, and then another 1/10 of an inch between 4 and 5 o'clock.
So
He
we're
might go through 2/5 once he gets home.
Hey, so we are looking at a half an inch of rain during the game.
I was told by your broadcast crew that it never rains at Autzen.
It doesn't. But it may monsoon. It may downpour. It may
flood.
Yeah, but this won't even be the rainiest Cal-Oregon game at Autzen. Jared Goff, I don't even remember what year this was. I think it was Jared Goff's freshman year at Cal. They came up to Eugene and they played a night game. And when I say this, in my life, in my 39 years of living in the state of Oregon, I have never seen it rain as hard as it did that night. Jared Goff went back to pass, and he brought his hand up.
The ball just went
there. The ball wasn't there, and he even went to throw and was like, "There's nothing in my hand anymore." I've never seen one as much rain, but a quarterback is ill prepared to play in said rain.
Yes,
as Jared Goff was that night.
Look, maybe he needed one of the Merino isotoners.
Yeah. Hopefully,
it's a second Dan Marino isotoner reference of the show, and I'm here for it.
No Mr. Winky in there. The interesting thing about this is Cal does have their quarterback of the future, as it appears, in Fernando Mendoza, who after,
one of the more fun names to say.
Absolutely.
In football.
But after only getting one snap against North Texas to start the season, he's played the last 3 weeks.
Okay.
Thrown 2 tutties every game, thrown an interception every game, but also has been more productive each week.
Yeah.
It's a nice little compliment that Cal has, which I don't know if they'll be able to go to because of said weather. But with that in mind, Cal does have an absolute dude in that backfield in Jaden Ott.
Jaden Ott is amazing. And look, when you think of this Cal team, last year they were 10th in scoring offense. They were 12th in rushing offense. I think they were 9th in total offense in the Pac-12. And this year, I think of it in these terms: 222 yards per game. Where do you think that ranks you in the Pac-12 this year in passing yards per game?
Dead last.
That gets you 11th in the Pac-12 this year. It gets you 11th in the Pac-12. It's a little bit different. They are 11th in the Pac-12, 73rd nationally. So they're about middle of the pack nationally and at the bottom of the Pac-12 for their passing offense. But their points per game are up. They were one of the lowest scoring teams in the Pac-12 last year. They're currently 5th and 39th nationally. 32 points per game. That's pretty damn good. Their total offense, they were dead last in the conference last year in total offense. They're at 422 this year, right? Which is 8th in the conference, but 45th nationally. So again, you're sitting there and you're in the upper half.
Well, think about
of the nationally what offenses are doing, and their rushing offense that you're talking about, top 20 nationally. Top 20 nationally. They're over 200 yards per game on the ground. Jay Knott is a damn dude.
He's an NFL running back. Like there's no questions about it.
Dude, and Jake Spivital is an acquisition that hasn't gotten a lot of hype.
Mm-hmm.
Jake Spivital was like the wonder boy of offense about a decade ago. And he's moved up through the ranks. He was a head coach at Texas State. Now he's the offensive coordinator for Justin Wilcox at Colorado, and his imprints are all over that offense.
And he's had something for everyone this season, which is why they've had games where against Washington, they hang 32. Against Oregon State, they hang 40. Against USC, they hang 49.
Yep.
I mean, you can say what you want about those defenses. To put up real points when you're an offense that has been, let's be blunt, inept for the last 4 or 5 years.
It's been anemic.
They just haven't been functional.
Yeah.
And they go from not functional to hanging 40 pieces.
Yep.
Routinely, they have gotten, 58, 32, 40, and 49. I bet you that those combined scores are probably close to as many points or more than they scored the entirety of last year.
They're picking up that offense. They are finding a rhythm right now. And so what we're seeing though is the common thread with this team is that in their losses, and this also translates to against better opponents, they turn the ball over a lot.
Yes. And that's what they're hoping that Mendoza, who is a redshirt freshman who's stepping in and had played the last 3 games, can cut down on because has had at least one in every game.
What they need to do though, and this is huge for Oregon because they have not really gotten a whole heck of a lot of turnovers, man.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at what really changed at Utah, the 2 Tyshim Johnson interceptions, those have been game changers. They only have 7 interceptions on the season. 3 of them came in the Texas Tech game when Tyler Shuck went all turnover crazy.
Yes.
And they have not forced a lot of turnovers. They've crunched everything down. They have suffocated some teams on both sides of the football, really. Their line of scrimmages is where they suffocate you. But on the defensive side, they've kept everything in front of them. Have not created turnovers, though. And what we saw last week, if you can create 2 more, and I think that it's really interesting, they don't play a lot of zone. They play a lot of man coverage. And they go and they play zone like in 2 spots last week, and Tyshim Johnson gets 2 picks. And I think they do a really good job of this in the cinematic recap.
Yes.
That Oregon does. They tapped into the headsets this week, and you could hear the headset communication between the coaches. And Lanning even said something during that cinematic recap where he goes, we play zone for the first time in weeks, and we get Tyshim gets a pick, and then they do it again. Like their defense is starting to come around, and that's the next step, and that's the next evolution for this team to go from good to great, great to elite. Is you do not turn the ball over offensively. Now you need to start getting it back.
And that's what we talked about a little bit yesterday. As good as Oregon has been, when Urban Meyer's talking about them being the best team on tape in the country and all those things, you look at the box scores, they've been dominant, but they don't have the tackles for loss. They don't have the sacks. They don't have the interceptions. They don't have the forced fumbles. It's the integrity of the defense that has been so good, regardless, which is, I think the more impressive thing is that they're doing it without those things.
Yeah. They haven't forced a fumble since week 2.
And it's not like this isn't
crazy.
It is crazy when you just talk about the raw numbers because Oregon is one of the better tackling teams in the country. But maybe that's why is that they are prioritizing wrapping up and securing as opposed to trying to force fumbles.
Yeah, but it's whatever they're doing. It's working right now. That next step in that next evolution, get the ball back. And look, with the part that, and this is a part about Oregon that you have a little bit more confidence in this year as opposed to years past. When you're not one-dimensional, don't you feel a whole heck of a lot better about these weather games that are going to be coming down the pipeline when weather gets nasty?
Mm-hmm.
Because what translates is defense. What translates is running the ball.
Yep.
And what translates is not having to rely solely on the deep ball when you have a quarterback who is 80% on first and second downs on the season.
Because you can't
the
physically drive the ball down the field because the rain will literally knock it down.
And all of these like captain checkdowns for Bo.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? This is exactly like when you get into cold weather.
This is how you have to play.
This is where you win games when it starts pouring down rain, and like that's a good part about this. It's going to be rainy, but it's not going to be like 40 and rainy.
Yeah,
it's weird. It's warm.
Do you
16 rainy?
Do you look at this like again? I don't think Oregon's on any kind of upset alert, but do you look at a game when the weather could be this sideways and go, oof, ball security could make this get super weird?
Yeah, that's always a concern.
Right.
Yeah. And I also, one thing that my eye is on, and I think that every Oregon fan should kind of be weary of, is we didn't see it after the loss to Washington, after the rivalry game. But when Dan Lanning says that was 4 quarters, that was the complete game, I do worry about like there being like we did it.
A letdown.
Because you do it on the road, you do it against Utah, you end their streak, you exercise some demons. Now you're looking at, like, it's Cal. It's a 3-win team. Like, what are we doing here? It's way better than just 3-win football team.
And not only that, after Cal, things get spicy again for Oregon as they have USC, Arizona State, and then Civil War. Yeah. So it gets a little interesting.
Is it going to snow in Boulder?
Ooh, is it?
I don't know. It just seems like the time of year where,
we had it in the Midwest already. So I had relatives in Chicago who couldn't go trick or treating because of the snow.
66 and sunny
for a high tomorrow. Yeah. So by game time though at 7ish, it'll be more like 50.
Shoot.
But yeah, no snow.
Low of 44.
Yeah.
It's warmer there than here at altitude.
In the Rockies.
Getting weird.
Where the women flock like the salmon of Capistrano.
I like it.
Goodness gracious. John Denver was full of...
That John Denver's full of man.
Well, you know who else is? Ohio State. We'll get to that and more coming up here on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan.
nuts because this rivalry is going to be taken completely out of hand, and this is why rivalries are great.
Keep in mind the sourcing from this is coming from the University of Michigan, but I don't think they would put it out there.
Yeah, this is from the Wolverine.
Yes, but they are also
Seems like an
saying that
unbiased
this
report.
sourcing is coming from the university because the university is going to want to throw this mud.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
Yeah.
But this is from the Wolverine. Several sources at Michigan and the media tell thewolverine.com that they have gathering evidence on the 2 PIs that are believed to be behind the investigation into Michigan's alleged illegal on-site scouting.
Okay.
Which, okay, sure, yeah, you went up. This is standard practice. This is regular counterintelligence. Okay, you spy on the people spying on you.
Yeah.
For those that are unaware, this is very normal. Okay.
I've seen the show The Americans.
There you go. You're picking up what I'm putting down.
Yeah.
The same sources also believe that these two are responsible for the media leaks that have kept the story in the news for weeks. Okay, that's also believable. Then we get to this line. Both allegedly have ties to Ohio State head coach Ryan Day's family.
Yikes.
It was me!
I'm a big Kerry Russell fan, for the record. I just like to get that out there because I said The Americans. Yeah.
I mean, Pete Kerry Russell is.
But wait.
We're moving away from Connor Stallions being the central figure in this and Ryan Day sitting front and center.
And this is classic politics right here.
Deflect, baby.
We have the espionage going in the background. Now we have
deny.
Deflection, complete deflection here. Like, why are you looking at us? They're the snitches, and people are like, yeah. Who cares that they were breaking the rules?
Turn the flashlight somewhere else.
Yeah. The only reason why we know about this is because Timmy Day is the one who did it.
The hilarious part about this is it goes on to say reporters are putting the pieces together, but we know Michigan is currently in possession of documents that could link the alleged investigators to Day's younger brother, Tim Day.
Okay. Why are they... What is the point of this?
I think what you said.
It's not to. They're not saying we didn't do it.
No,
they said these are the guys who are responsible for uncovering it.
And what they're doing here is the NCAA is not going to care about this. The Big Ten, though, they might. Why? Because if this is indeed true, Ohio State went outside the family.
Yeah, like they're throwing their guys under the bus. But again, this is more. I look at this as good old-fashioned rivalryness.
Sure, but...
This is Woody Hayes having his car break down his Bo Schembechler had his car break down in Ohio and walked to the state of Michigan. I like this.
Smart. Probably wouldn't tell people your name is Bo. That's for sure. It's probably not going to do you any favors. But what's hilarious is this goes on to say that the other suspect is linked to Day's brother, Chris, and was also a classmate of Tim Day's in New Hampshire. One of them currently runs a PI firm in Manchester, New Hampshire, Day's hometown.
Okay.
The best part about this for me is...
Okay, wait a minute.
Ryan Day.
Why are they calling him suspects? Who?
I love the inflammatory language. What are you talking about? This is fantastic.
They're saying one of the other suspects?
No. One of them they suspect of.
Oh, really? Because
Yes.
I'm reading here. The other okay. All right, good. So they're not calling the other they suspect of investigating their wrongdoings.
Yes.
Okay.
But this also, remember...
So they're saying that this is a rigged investigation.
But not only that...
They're not denying the information
The
being
call
false.
is coming from inside the house. More than that, they're also making sure that even though they're digging their own grave, they're not throwing the dirt to the side. They're making sure it hits Ryan Day right in the face. You know, bleepity bleeping weasel.
Yeah, look who threw us under the bus.
Look who's
Stitches get stitches.
Yeah, not only stitches get stitches, but look, he's so worried about this, he had to go back to a PI firm in his hometown to trace this back. That's how worried and insecure little brother Ohio State is about Michigan.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, this isn't adding fuel to the fire. This is a nuclear bomb. Now you're drawing and pulling on not only the insecurities of a fan base in this country that I despise in Ohio State, but Ryan Day. Remember the faux outrage he had at Notre Dame old coach My
Brian
God.
Kelly?
No, Lou Holtz.
Lou Holtz.
Remember he got all mad and indignant about the toughness of Ohio
Yeah.
State players. Well, pretty soft if you're going and getting your family investigators to go check on old Michigan.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like if I'm Ryan Day and my brother is a private investigator and I know that my biggest rival is like spying, like you know it. And it again, this is one of the worst kept secrets in the Big Ten, right? So if your brother is an investigator, you're probably like, hey man, look into this for me. And then all of a sudden, as every single day turns more and more information that is like, no, this is more widespread than we thought.
Mhm.
Like that is something. What's going to be ultimately hilarious is when Ohio State gets caught doing the exact same thing.
Oh, they're
right?
gonna find this. They're
Because
gonna find this.
there's some coaches that are like, hey, it's not the fact that the Michigan did this. Like it's that they got caught. Like
Yeah.
how you get caught. Well, now it's the how you get caught is by your rival because
Went and hired a PI firm.
you flexed on them and didn't even like when you flexed on them, you just like crushed their will in those rivalry games. They said this isn't on the up and up, and we're gonna prove it,
Mhm.
and they did. Like, this is all fantastic to me.
Oh no! Are you kidding me?
The
No.
counterintelligence is phenomenal,
Yes.
and like everybody's like. These football coaches, man, they always talk about this being war. It's actually kind of more like a war than you think.
Yeah, it's a Cold War.
Nobody's dying.
Yeah,
but
it's a Cold War.
It's got all of the fixins, you know. You got espionage, you got subterfuge.
A lot of money at play.
Yeah, you're trying to get
The
mental
occasional
warfare.
honeypot.
Right. You know, well, Iowa has the pink locker room,
Mm-hmm.
which maybe that's what their offense dresses in. I don't know. Because remember, that was to make it more, well, they come out very flat. And that was the whole purpose of it. Is like Hayden Fry wanted something that
Maybe they need a
mentally made them calm down and was a soothing color. So it was pink that they settled
They
on.
need to go more gloss, less matte.
That's right. Maybe they need a higher finish on
There
it.
you go. What's funny amidst all of this?
So great.
Do you know what is happening? The University of Michigan is proceeding with offering Jim Harbaugh a contract extension that is expected to be signed next week.
They're just trying. They're going to try and
Plow through this. That's what they're going
just
for.
say, you know what? We're going to blame it 100% on our rival
Mm-hmm.
and say they're just jelly. And that's what we're going to go with. This isn't going to work.
I'm very interested to see how this works because North Carolina invented a class and got away with it.
Yeah, this is different though because what did they North Carolina claim? NCAA, this is not within your purview. You this is accreditation. You don't.
They'll.
This is on the academic
They'll
side.
find something here that does something similar.
What this is a absolute black and white, clearly written. You cannot send people to stadiums for advanced scouting purposes. And Connor Stallions has been caught on video now several times.
I'm going to go with what I said a couple months ago. I do not recognize your authority.
They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it.
Do it. Do it. Do it.
Yeah. Because you know what? You know who does recognize their authority? The Big Ten. And that's, remember, the Big Ten.
Making the Big Ten two sides here between Michigan and Ohio State is also going to be fun.
Well, and also, did you see what the coach at Purdue said? Purdue's head coach came out and just flat out said they should be done. He goes, Ryan Walters said, they aren't allegations. It happened. There's video evidence. There's ticket purchases you can track back. We know for a fact they were at our number of our games. Like, we're not talking in allegations anymore. We're talking in fact.
Also, Purdue, shut up and play basketball.
Try to play football.
It's something. All right, coming up next, what we will do is play a game of awe here on 1080 The Fan and Danny and Dusty. But first, here's the Big Kahuna Sports Center update.
You mind if I have some of your tasty beverage to wash this down?
It's Football Friday on The Fan.
Brought to you by the Odyssey app.
Pressure steps up, goes down.
KFXX KWJJ HD2 Portland. An Odyssey station. Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by A&E Plumbing, Heating, and Air, serving Portland, Southwest Washington, and the Gorge. Online at aneheatingandcooling.com. It's hard to stop a train. First on The Fan, the number 6 Oregon Ducks are 24.5-point favorites hosting Cal tomorrow afternoon at Autzen Stadium. 2:30 kick on the Pac-12 Network. Our live coverage here on The Fan from Eugene starts with Ducks game day at 10 o'clock with Dirt, Dusty, and Anthony Newman. Stick around after the game for the Ducks postgame scoreboard show with Swag and Will Ortner. Number 16, Oregon State on the road, facing Coach Prime in Colorado at Folsom Field for a little Pac-12 After Dark. 7 o'clock kick on ESPN. The Beavs are 13.5-point favorites. Over in the NFL, Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski announced Deshaun Watson will make his return under center Sunday against the Cardinals. Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray making the trip, officially questionable Sunday against the Browns as he continues his recovery from a torn ACL. Steelers linebacker Cole Holcomb out for the season after suffering a knee injury last night against the Titans. And Titans head coach Mike Vrabel says wide receiver Treylon Burks in the concussion protocol after last night's scary fall against the Steelers. He did have mobility in his extremities after the game. It's the second time Burks has been knocked unconscious in a game in less than a year. And the Trailblazers start the in-season tournament play tonight at Moda Center, looking for their third straight win, hosting the 0-5 Grizzlies. 7 o'clock tip on Root Sports. Scoot Henderson out with an ankle injury. The Blazers are 3.5-point dogs. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk. Watch and wager on every game at Spirit Mountain Casino with the sportsbook powered by BetMGM. Learn more at spiritmountain.com.
It's The Fan on FM. Go to 99.5 FM HD2 and enjoy high def 1080 The Fan.
When it comes to purchasing windows and doors, we understand you have a lot of choices.
Like a
like I said,
Little
it's-
Rascal situation.
It's very much a good luck situation.
Yep. That's it. That's all I got.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's all you got for us?
What?
How dare
What?
you? Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest show of Friday afternoons on Danny and Dusty at 2:30. Jeff Russ.
Oh.
All right, coming up next, we will talk about a little bit more Victor Wembanyama because he had an absolutely insane thing happen, and this is why he may not get 30-10 coming up against the Raptors.
Wait, what?
Oh, yeah. He's got more, and I'm getting more basketball.
No,
Yeah,
it's
gonna put it in there.
Football Friday.
Gonna be in there. Coming up next year in Danny and Dusty, Today the Fan. twice too. He had that heat twice. Remember when he was coming up, then he got injured, and then when he came back, like, no, really, Freddie, you do. And it went,
Man, that sucked.
No, it wasn't. But Victor Wembanyama became the first player to score 85 points, grab 35 rebounds, and block 10 shots in his first 5 games since Shaquille O'Neal in 1992.
That seems good.
There have been a lot of big men that have made debuts between now and then in the last 31 years.
Yeah.
To be in that category through the first 5 games. And again, we went through this the other day. Shaquille O'Neal had a 30-20 game in his first 5 games. The level of disruption and dominance that Shaquille O'Neal demonstrated was unlike anything we had ever seen from a rookie.
The Suns were afraid of having the ball inside. Just because of his presence. Like, he is an issue.
He blocked Devin Booker on a drive on the way down. Like, he jumped a step too early, but he just stayed tall and then just knocked it to the floor.
Yeah, he's really good.
It's easy to stay tall when you're 7'4" and you have a 19-foot wingspan.
Yeah.
That's what my problem was.
7'5". Also, his wingspan his wingspan is actually over 8 feet.
It's banana.
Pretty good.
His wingspan is over 8 feet. Again, his wingspan is over 8 feet.
Do we remember what the size of his hand was?
I've seen the side by side, and it's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's like a normal human hand in his. I mean, it looks like a Nerf ball in his hand.
Or like he's wearing Freddy Krueger gloves.
Did you guys see the video that came out of the pregame last night of him dribbling? So he's got a ball in each hand, and it's a very normal drill where he's dribbling the ball between his legs with each hand at the same time, switching hands. So right to left, left to right, but it's at the same time. The thing about it is that's not supposed to happen to a guy who's 7'5".
No, he's very freaky, twitchy. And he puts to shame the whole idea that Shaquille O'Neal floated that his hands were too big to shoot free throws. No, they're not.
No,
no, they're not.
The issue is, and there's actually math behind this. When the taller you are, the more the angle yes increases, which makes you have to put even more arc on your shot to have a higher level of success. Which, if you watch Dirk Nowitzki shoot free throws, they touch the ceiling. That was the whole point, is because most 7-footers, if they use a traditional shot, it goes straight at the rim.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Where everybody else, when they shoot up, it goes up and over.
It is a flat circle
Yes.
that you're trying to shoot down into.
Yes.
More arc, better.
Yes.
Harder to do when tall.
Yes.
Or use the backboard.
Which I still don't know why we don't have anybody doing that.
Big in China.
Like Yao.
Yeah, they use a backboard in a lot of the Asian leagues. Just fire them right off the backboard. And
You may get a little
bank it
dead
in.
spot on there and make a little
It's easy.
spring. All good.
Yeah.
But,
All right. Well, that's good basketball.
That's
note.
your generational note. I have to bring this up, and we have to make a decision on this, which way we're going. USC Washington has a spread of 76.5.
Over
or under.
If I go both ways.
Over. Like you're telling me that what they're saying is that 42-35. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
For
I could see
reference,
56-49. I could see anything is in play. A bajillion.
the lowest scoring spread of the weekend,
Yeah.
or over under the weekend, is Iowa Northwestern.
I wish that we could do college. I wish we could do college, because I would do a 3-game parlay with an over USC UW 76.5, and I would go under that 30.5 for that game, along with the under in Army Air Force,
which is at 32.5.
So I would go with the mega parlay of over 76.5, under the 32.5, under 30.5.
And reminder, those 32.5 and 30.5 totals are combined still 15 points behind the expected totals of USC Washington.
Or I would go first half over in USC UW of 32.5.
Oh,
and
God,
I would go total game unders
what's higher?
on the other.
What's higher, USC UW
the first
half
total?
or Air Force Army and
I'd do it.
Iowa
Yeah.
Northwestern?
Yeah.
You know what? I bet you we can.
Yeah. I think that it's going to be the defense game, because the defense will be offensive.
I really don't like how much everybody's picking USC. It scares me.
Yeah, but I also think that one thing that we're kind of ignoring is that, like, when they played Arizona State and it was 15-7,
Mm-hmm.
they can play some decent defense at times.
Sure.
Arizona State's really bad offensively.
Yeah,
but I think it's the giving up of 33 to Stanford that everybody's like, damn, what happened there? So that game, I get it. I see. I'm going on the over on that, though. And then we have, like, look, this is going to be a locked and loaded slate because Saturday, not only is it that game at 4:30, but you got Bama LSU. The Texas-Kansas State game is going to be a fun one to watch. Clemson Notre Dame. You want to talk about Clemson getting back on the right track after Dabo goes after Tyler and Spartanburg with his
This team blows.
this stupid rant? I bet we could see, Clemson knocking off Notre Dame this weekend. I wouldn't put it past them because they're at home. They're in Death Valley. Georgia, Missouri in college football. Bedlam is going on Oklahoma State. That is an awesome slate of college games. And then the NFL, man. On Sunday, we're getting in Frankfurt, Germany, Dolphins Chiefs at the butt crack of dawn.
What do you
6:30
think possessed Roger Goodell to finally send good football overseas?
I don't know, and that does suck. But I'm rolling with the Dolphins because they left on Monday and the Chiefs left on Friday.
Still don't understand that. You would think of all coaches, Andy Reid would want to spend more time in Germany.
Then you got Ravens Seahawks right here on the fan.
Mm-hmm.
Eagles Cowboys, not right here on the fan.
No.
And
but we got good games.
Sunday night football's Bills Bengals.
Yeah, no.
Let's go.
The slogfest of crappy games that we've gone through for the last 2 weeks is gone.
Yeah. How did Andy Reid not carve out more time for brats?
That's brats and kraut in Germany.
And pretzels.
Maybe that's the reason why.
His
heart couldn't take it.
He wanted to survive the trip.
The man has handed out his own recipes at airports.
If he's not coaching in Lederhosen, something is wrong with the NFL.
Chiefs colored Lederhosen.
Just go full on Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
Reed Fest.
Yeah.
Andy Fest.
Like he has to
Das
coach
Boot.
with his dinner menu, Cheesecake Factory dinner menu of a play call sheet and a Stein, and he's wearing Lederhosen. Sign me up. Who's not watching that? I'd pay-per-view that.
What are
Maybe
the odds?
that should be my Halloween costume next year is Andy Reid.
What are the odds?
Colored Lederhosen.
What are the odds
Andy
Travis
Reid,
Kelce
Germany game.
is drinking out of a boot by the end of the game?
I think it's very high.
Very high.
And I would expect nothing